Hey, ladies and gents, it's Zem back again with the review on the Type 59. Yeah, I never bought this tank when it first came out just because it was there were so many of them. God, when I started playing this game, this thing came out, there was like, I think I had a game and there was like 9 on one side and the other side had 9 Louets. Yeah, they were like the cockroaches, E25s when they first came out. They were everywhere. And they were really, really good. They've been nerfed over the years, the Type 59. If anybody doesn't know, I got this last night, a box of 75 that I bought for $100. I got this and a bunch of gold and silver and all kinds of shit. So yeah, this is one of the tanks that I have. One of the very few tanks I don't have, or I didn't have at the time, a premium. So yeah, I picked it up last night, and so I thought I'd do a quick review on it and give you an idea of what you're playing with here. This thing was essentially is a T-54A Russian medium tank. You can actually obviously can see that it's very similar to the T-54. The turn's a little bit different, but everything else pretty much the same. So what they did was this was a licensed built tank by the Chinese. So in 1957, I believe, they got the license to do it. In 1958, they started production of this tank. They built around 10,000 of these vehicles all the way up to 1980. They were using this. Of course, this thing was used all over the place. It was exported to a number of countries. Hell, this thing was even upgraded by the British with a 105 millimeter, the same one they had run on their Chieftains. So there's so many different variants from artillery to there was some with rockets mounted on it. Yeah, they use this, and there was tank destroyers. They use this chassis for all kinds of shit. So yeah, it was a very reliable tank, and it was produced in large numbers and exported to at least 15 countries to be used all over. So it was used somewhat in Vietnam. I think Iraq had it, Iran had it. It saw its way across the world as Chinese provided this tank for a lot of their allies. Uh, the one we have in game is very close to the stats that you would get on, say, like the T-44. The T-44, very close to this tank. Of course, whoops, I actually have the wrong gun on that. Should be that one. But yeah, if you like this playstyle, the T-44, the T-54 prototype, even the T-54, the regular T-54, if you like that kind of playstyle, you're definitely gonna like this tank. Plays very similar to those three. As an actual premium, it's better than the 59 and the T-34-3. Sorry guys, everybody a fan of those. The 59 is better than those two. It's just outright better. So, what do we have here? We have 250 average damage per shot, 181 average pen, which is pretty shitty. 8.17 rate of fire, 7.34 reload, and of course I don't have the first BIA on it anyway. 2.16 aim time, 0.37 accuracy, and 2,000 average damage per minute. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Uh, Pretty much in line with every other Russian medium at this level at tier 8. 1,300 hit points, 100 hull armor on the front, 80 on the side, 45 in the rear, 200 on the turret, and 130 on the side and 60 on that. This is pretty bouncy. You get hull down with this, you can bounce a fair amount of shit because of the nice curve on it. Of course, you have the cupolas that can be pinned by every fucking thing in the country from 800 meters away. KV2s, yeah, they that little area right there, they find it, no problem. Decent to middling mobility. Somebody told me that we had an argument about this. This is very similar mobility, of course, to the T-44. I thought the T-44 was a little bit more mobile than this, or at least felt that way. I was thinking more along the lines of like a T-54 Model 1 for mobility, but hey, whatever. Concealment's pretty decent. Same way with the view range, not too bad. Of course, I don't have the BIA on it or any of the actual skills on it, but I am running vents. rammer, and of course coated by optics to give it that little bit of view range help. 640 signal range. Yeah, I am enjoying this tank. This was, like I said, a super rare tank because it hadn't been sold in 5 years. A lot of the old guys had this tank, and now with these boxes out there, I think I'm assuming that there was a lot more been showing up because I've seen a lot more in game. Usually there's at least 2 on each side from the games I've played with it. So yeah, it's definitely becoming a little bit more popular, or just like I said, more people are actually playing the tank or actually winning, not winning, paying for it, and these big box, 75 box giveaway, or not giveaways, Christmas bullshit. So yeah, if you want to spend the money on it, hey, go ahead and take the chance. It's not a bad little premium. If you definitely like the Chinese line, this will definitely be helpful. Now, I did find a little bit of history about it when I was actually looking at this. This is actually known as the WZ120, WZ120 in the from the Chinese, an upgraded version of that. So when you do go down the tech tree in the Chinese line, you get the WZ120. It really is nothing more than a Type 59. Same way, which I found interesting, was that the fact that the light tank, the Type 62, of course, by looking at it, you can tell is nothing more than a less well-armored Type 59. So yeah, kind of interesting how much they had modified that Type 59. This one actually had the 85 millimeter, and of course it dropped off a bunch of armor to give it a little bit more mobility as a light tank. So with that said, I'm going to bring up the replay for you guys to take a look at, see what this little this bad boy can do in an actual fight, and you guys have a good night. Alright guys, back with the gameplay with the Type 59, and yeah, Fisherman's Bay. This is one of my favorite maps in a medium. We're going to see how well we can do with this Chinese Russian tank. So, if you guys ever watch videos of them, I usually play this map, lights, mediums, hell, even heavies. I prefer the 1-2 over the 9-0 because 9-0 is such a slugfest, peeky pokey, and that kind of crap. So, I'm going to push over to the 1-2. Then I've got a, fair amount of games in this thing now. I think probably around 20 games or so with it. And I still, of course, to a certain degree like the Russian mediums over this thing, but I mean, this thing plays so close to them, it's not even funny. So, head over here, try to stay away from that center line as far as possible so I don't get spotted. Of course, Type 64 shows up, and I actually don't really have a very good crew on this tank because, I don't even really play Chinese tanks that much. So, push up anyway. I got some support behind me, an FCM, a Skoda, and a Hellcat. And by this point, I had already seen the IS-6, the 34-3 was over there. So I'm not terribly worried about running into some Tier 8s over here. So essentially, it's going to be just me picking on a bunch of 6s and whatnot. So, first one moves over. Hold down on this thing is really nice. It has such a nice, really pretty decent, strong. I mean, the turret is nice and strong on it, unless they hit the cupolas on it, which, to a certain degree, like I said, kind of do sit up a little bit high, but all in all, usually not too bad. E25's right in front of me. Cromwell's right in front of me, and he's got some insanely good camo without me being able to spot him. I'm just sitting here kind of waiting, trying to see what's all over here, wait for my FCM to show up here. Find the E25 again, find the FE304, looking around here, one E25 over here, another E25 over there, FE304 over here. Funny, all kinds of baddies everywhere. About that time my FCM shows up, so now I'm going to get a little bit braver here, just to see what I can find. That's about the time I noticed the Cromwell come in, because he's a cheeky fuck and the other FCM's not actually doing anything, but whatever. I get artillery. Watch out, artillery. I'm gonna get your ass later. T-29 shows up. Still got the Cromwell. So now I'm gonna poke over here. We are literally outnumbered. So this is where all shots gonna have to go through. No fucking around, no missing, no bouncing shots. It's time to, like I said, put the damage down. Cromwell comes around. He gets kind of a cheeky fuck. He's got 2 marks on his barrel. He doesn't look like he's probably too bad of a player here. So we're gonna get in here and put some shells into him. He's more interested, all of a sudden, way more interested in the Hellcat. Get around on him. Put another nice shell into the T-29. We've essentially won this flank, other than the E-25 being a cheeky fuck. He's taken a couple shots. I'm surprised by now at this point he actually hadn't run. So back up on the hill here, looking, trying to see if I can get that T-34 side. But he's a little bit smarter, so he moves back a little bit, so I don't have much of a chance to get on him. Move up here in the bush here, and I'm just kind of hanging out here to see if I don't get spotted. So FV304, he goes pure YOLO. E25, he's also decided to end his life in a glorious manner. No shot on him. Pop back up over here to the T-34-3, and can I pull it off? Got the shot in, but I can't quite get it down far enough. Stunned again, because, you know, my favorite mode in this game is to be stunned. I mean, you know, really, that's kind of what it's all about here. So, not dicking around here. We got the town pretty well mopped up. There's a couple more tanks over there. Now it's just kind of a matter of shooting some leftover tanks here. The the aim time and the, of course, accuracy on this 100 has never been really that great. So I did not get that time. I mean, if I would have snapshot that shit, probably would have hit him, tracked him, left him out in the open, and you know, they would have finished him off, and I would have ended up with a bunch of damage, bunch of assisted damage. But you know, hey, I like to aim, right? I like to think that if I aim long enough, I'll be able to hit my target. Yeah, okay, right? And it's obviously not because it's not a Russian vehicle either. It doesn't help. So, got a pretty good idea. There's some, there are going to be some baddies over here. Pop up on the GW, put a shell into him, get him spotted, pick up some more assisted damage. Type 64, where are you at, buddy? Yeah, nope. They finish him off too. So now I just have the E-25 in front of me. So pull up, put a nice shell onto him, track him, ram him, and I get fucking stunned by my own artillery. You know, just let you guys in on me on that, artillery players. Don't fucking shoot if you have a bunch of friendly tanks around a target. Just don't, please. Yeah, it pisses people off to no end. Already scumbag. So, finish him off. I ended up with on a blind shot just a little bit, like 3,020 damage. Yeah, something like that. So, and it, just like any other typical tier 8 premium tank, yeah, it was a 104k game for credits. So yeah, not a bad vehicle. If you haven't got a chance to go out and try these boxes, and you really want a Type 59, at the absolute worst, you're going to end up with a shit ton of gold and a bunch of silver and probably a few premium tanks. You know, so you can gamble at that part or whatever. Type 59s are going, like I said, this is where everybody's picking them up at. So with that said, you guys have a good night, and hopefully be getting this video up yet tonight. So.